How's it going, everybody? So today I'm going to show you how to install a gimbal bearing on an OMC Cobra. The one I'm using today here is 5.7. I have the transom completely removed from the boat, so I'm going to show you the step-by-step on how to do it. Just for starters, get you a marker and scribe right where the grease fitting goes. And just a word of caution, this thing will slide, so you may have a grease fitting in place correctly, but if this thing slides, it will cover it up. So do your, take your time here and make sure this doesn't cover it. Okay. Yep. All right. So that's it. Now, obviously, you've got two distinct sides here that you could put this in backwards. If you look, there's a perfectly flush side, and then there's a side where part of the race comes bulging out. This side, where the race bulges out, faces towards the stern drive, and then the flat flush side faces towards the engine. Show you on the new one. See the part where it's bulging out? That faces towards the back of the boat, as in the stern drive, and the flush part right here faces the engine. So it should be pretty clear. The way you'll do it so you don't mess up is put a scribe on the side where there's a mark that tells you you're looking at the right side. And don't put a mark on this side. If you do, you'll confuse yourself. So only put a mark on the side that you're going to see as you're sliding it in place. Hopefully you see the mark, meaning you have the gimbal bearing installed on the right side. So on car axle bearings, I'm used to packing them before putting them in. This one you can't if you look around the edge. Looks like there's rubber around it, like they've sealed this so it's like a completely sealed bearing, and the only way to get grease in there is through here. So just so I don't make a huge mess, I'm not going to pack this bearing until I install it, and then I'll hook up to the grease fitting and go from there. But anyway, put a mark there, and I'm going to show you where to put the other mark. Okay, so you can see, if you look in there, I'll zoom in a little bit for you. You can see where the grease fitting is. I drew a marker all the way over, so kind of helps see where it needs to get installed. You can also see in the background I got a new oil seal. And the only thing they say with the oil seal that's different than I did is they say use gasket sealant around the edge versus what I used, which was axle grease. So it's how I saw seals on a truck axle. So just go with the book and use the gasket compound instead. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get the bearing started, and we'll go from there. Alright, so you can see I grease the gimbal bearing. Make sure you're facing the right way. Also grease where it's going to go in there so it'll slide in easier. And make sure your mark is facing the right direction as well. So I'm going to go ahead and slide it in place, and then we'll start pounding it in. Alright, so you can see here I just slid it in place just initially so you can see where I lined the marks up. And don't rotate the entire housing. If anything, just rotate it straight back. And this way you won't run into any issues with the grease fitting getting covered up by that one piece. So I'm going to go ahead and finish sliding it in, and then we'll get the hammer on it. Okay, so if you watched my other video on how to install the oil seal, we use this side to install the to install the gimbal bearing. You're going to use the other side, so you just take here like that, and you know that's correct because I'll show you the old one here. So the way you're going to be putting it on, if you look, just like that. For the flush side. Alright. And you'll notice, once it's in place, it is on super tight. And that's what you want when you're pounding on this huge ass bearing, so it goes on nice and flush. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started with pounding it on. Take a look at it. So you can see here, I got everything aligned. It took really a good amount of effort to get that installed. I used a hammer, and like I said, I used this and just hit the other end, and here's the hammer I used right there. So just make sure as you're sliding it in place, it's aligned properly, that there isn't a big gap on the top or bottom, because if there is, you'll hit it and it won't move. So make sure the bearing is aligned all the way back, and that's how you install it. And like I said, here's another shot of the tool I used, the hammer, and it is completely installed. You look at it from the back here, you can see just a little amount of gap between it. But that's it. That's how you install the gimbal bearing on an OMC Cobra 5.8. In my case, the same thing for a 5.7. So have a good one.